Hello and welcome to Quiz Time. I'm Jess and I'm your host today for a general knowledge quiz for seniors. So, how do you think you're going to do today? Shall we find out? Who is the oldest woman tennis player to retire at the age of 49? Serena Williams, Martina Navratilova or Billie Jean King? My age. There's hope for me yet. Martina Navratilova. She was 49 when she retired. True or false? Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. Are you having a light bulb moment? Do you get it? It's false. It was Joseph Swan who invented the light bulb. The Leonid meter shower happens in August, November or July. The Leonid meteor shower, when does it happen? When it's dark? No, it actually happens in November. Whether it's light, dark, cloud or not, it's still there. Roulette likely was developed from a game called Biribi that came from India, France or Italy. Do you like a bit of roulette? It's Italy. Can become addictive. It's a little bit worrying. Candling an egg is an old-fashioned term for cooking an egg over a hearth. Is that true or is that false? It's false. Candling is a process where an egg is lit to see the embryo inside. In 1953, Schwinn called which of their bikes the swellest looking bike in town in one of their ads? The Panther, the Phantom or the Leader? The Phantom. The 1973 film The Last American Hero was based on the life of Junior Johnson, Audie Murphy or John F. Kennedy. Junior Johnson. The book The Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test was written by Tom Wolfe, Susan Sontag or Hunter S. Thompson. Tom Wolfe. Randy Goodrum was in a high school band with Carole King, Bill Clinton or Michael Johnson. Bill Clinton. Who called himself the fifth Beatle? Brian Epstein, Billy Preston or Murray the K? Murray the K. True or false? The largest living organism, dubbed the humongous fungus, lives in the Malheur National Forest in Oregon and encompasses 3.5 square miles of forest. It's true. Sorry, a very long question. The answer popped up first. The GI Bill that helped World War II vets lasted how long? 8 years, 4 years or 12 years? It lasted 12 years. A secretarial pool was also called a typing pool, hot desking, or temp secretaries. A typing pool. Internationalism is a political theory, an architectural style, or an artistic movement. an architectural style. True or false? Honey from an ancient Egyptian tomb was still found to be edible. It's true. Who designed the dream sequence in the Hitchcock film Spellbound? Salvador Dali, James Vesuvius, or Jack Cosgrove? Are you a Hitchcock fan, or do you find them too scary? Salvador Dali. Never watch the birds if you're a little bit afraid of them. The womb chair of 1946 was designed by Eero Saarinen, Eames, or Alvar Aalto. Eero Saarinen. The longest wedding veil was 22,843 feet. Is that true or is that false? 22,843 feet. It's true. Well, I wouldn't have liked that. The Hero with 1,000 Faces was a 1950s Hollywood movie, a book written by Joseph Campbell, or a 1980s video game. It was a book written by Joseph Campbell. The kitty foil was a shirtwaist dress, a utility skirt suit, a swing dance style dress. Which one of those? Kitty foil. A shirtwaist dress. Where is the island of Corfu? In the Indian Ocean, in the South Pacific, or in the Ionian Sea? In the Ionian Sea. The Academy Awards were first televised in 1953, 1959, or 1964. (1953). Popeye has quadruplet nephews named Pipeye, Popeye, Poopeye, and Peepeye. Is that true or is that false? It's true. Which author has been translated into the most languages? Agatha Christie, Shakespeare, or the Brothers Grimm? Agatha Christie. Who is the best-selling poet in the US? Emily Dickinson, Rumi, or Edgar Allan Poe? Rumi. True or false? The Swiss Army knife got its name from the American soldiers who couldn't easily pronounce its German name. And I'm not going to do it because it's a Swiss Army knife. It's true. Officer Missouri. What was the popular style for men's ties in the 1960s? Wide, short, or thin? Are you going back to visualise what they were like, or were you there and do you remember? They were thin. What is a rhotic accent? The sound of the historical English rhotic consonant R preserved in all pronunciation, and an accent from the Upper Rhode Island or an accent from Rhodesia. The sound of the historical English rhotic consonant R. True or false? Abandoned gravel pits are often used as amenity areas for water sports. It's true. Makes total sense. What a good use of abandoned gravel pits. Today's Americans speak English more like the British did back in Shakespeare's day than modern British do. That's bogus or that's true. So you Americans, do you have my accent? Have I picked up yours? That's true. 1600s British, like modern day Americans, largely pronounced all their R's. What is a rough fish? Oh, I can't do the proper British accent. A fish with rough scales, any fish species that is difficult to catch, or a US angler from the larger fish that aren't commonly eaten, are rare or aren't even favourable for sport fishing. There you are. The term is number 3. Oh my goodness, we're going fast today. How did sock hops get their name? The dress code demanded socks, the students danced shoeless, or teenagers kept their cash in their socks. That's a good idea. The students dance shoeless, although I remember taking my cash in a sock once when I was younger. Which famous man helped make sideburns stylish in the 1950s? Elvis Presley, James Dean, or Marlon Brando? It's all very well when you've got notes in your socks, but when they start giving you change back, it's not good. Marlon Brando. Who was described as rock and roll's first great wild man and nicknamed the Killer? Jerry Lee Lewis, Little Richard, or Mickey Gilley? Jerry Lee Lewis. In 1988, what song became a #1 hit in Germany as well as a #2 hit in England? The Twist by the Fat Boys, Faith by George Michael, or Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses? All good songs. It was The Twist by the Fat Boys. Puzzle boxes created for entertainment first showed up in the Edwardian era, the Victorian era, or the 1980s. Now the traditional puzzle boxes, they are amazing, proper works of art, and they're from the Victorian era. Keep you amused for ages. In 1966, Mickey Stanley played for the Detroit Tigers, Knoxville Smokies, or Duluth Dukes. The Detroit Tigers. When were snow globes first made in plastic? 1920s, 1950s, or 1970s? Massive disaster when my daughter was 2. She smashed a glass one. Awful. In the 1950s, though, they were starting to be made in plastic. Who starred in the American TV series McHale's Navy? Joe Flynn, Tim Conway, or Ernest Borgnine? Ernest Borgnine. In 1959, a walking, talking toy called Robert the Robot was being sold for $6. Is that true or is it false? It's true. The name for the game Jenga was derived from which language? Korean, Swahili, or Spanish? Oh, I do love a bit of Jenga. It's from Swahili. In the 1988 Winter Olympics, the Battle of the Carmens was between which two female figure skaters? Jill Treenery and Kira Ivanova, Katarina Witt and Debbie Thomas, or Elizabeth Manley and Miradori Ito? Katarina Witt and Debbie Thomas. The volcano. Kelimutu is in Hawaii, Indonesia, or Japan? It's in Indonesia. Pandas aren't true bears. Is that true or is that false? It's false. Of course they're true bears. Wouldn't you want to give them a cuddle? In 1967, the first automated bank teller arrived in London in Britain, New York in USA, or Berlin in Germany. It's London in Britain. Prior to 1968, theatregoers couldn't readily look up a movie's popularity, if a movie was in their specific theatre, or if a movie was safe for children. If a movie was safe for children. In 1912, the Lad's Car was a kit car advertised for mechanically minded children, and it was around $160. Is it true or is it false? It's true. Were you ever lucky enough to have one of those? Wow. When did US law require people to wear seatbelts? 1968, 1983, or 1977? Now, I remember this time, so can we work out when it is? Do you remember when it happened? 1983, much more recent than people realise. In 1967, the first successful heart transplant took place in the USA, France, or South Africa. South Africa. The first cordless phone prototype came out in 1965 and became popular for residential use in the 1980s, 60s, or 70s. Cordless phone. It was the 1980s. Remember them? They were huge. Hello? When did the term Nehru jacket become widespread? 1940s, 1950s, or 1960s? The 1940s. In the wild, polar bears have produced offspring with grizzly bears. Is that true or is that false? It's true. There you go. It's not a trick question. Who played Jane Hudson in the 1962 film Whatever Happened to Baby Jane? Betty Davis, Olivia de Havilland, or Joan Crawford? Betty Davis. Which author inspired Barbara Cartland's early work? Daphne du Maurier, E.M. Hull, or Eleanor Glynn? Eleanor Glynn. The expression fig in, I don't give a fig, is a euphemism. Is that truth? Or is that true or is it false? It's false. Since the late Middle Ages, a fig has represented something that is tiny, value, or contemptible. So I don't give a fig, you don't really care very much. The Slavic god Perun is the god of wheat and harvest, storms and law, or peace and love. Storms and law. Sheet lightning describes lightning that, is too far away for thunder to be heard, is hidden by clouds or horizon, has been blown back into another stroke of lightning. Is hidden by clouds or horizon. Harrison Ford was billed as Harrison J. Ford until 1970 to avoid confusion with a silent actor of the same name. Is that true or is that false? It's true. Getting a credit card was always a long process where an applicant could be denied. Is that true or is that false? Excuse me. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. It's false. The pull tab on soda cans was used since 1962 until it was replaced in 1975 by the stay-on tab, which was invented because it was cheaper to make, it was easier for people to open, or the pull tab was causing littering issues. And it's the third one. I remember the pull tab. Lots of them all around. When did Silly Putty first appear in stores? 1949, 1958 or 1935? Wow, all of those dates much earlier than I thought. What do you think or do you know? Silly Putty in 1949. In Crayola's coloured census in 2000, which colours were the top favourites? Blue, cerulean, purple heart, blue scarlet or violet red, or red indigo and green? Blue, cerulean and purple heart. I loved my Crayola crayons. In the 1960s, large plastic tubes called sunbathing capsules were sold that were purported to allow in necessary UV rays while protecting the skin from harmful rays. It's a fact. What hobby did friends Henry Fonda and James Stewart like to do together? Build model aeroplanes, create model railroad sets, or tennis? Build model aeroplanes. The largest ice fishing competition is held in Minnesota, USA, Siberia, Russia, or Champagne-Ars, France. Minnesota in USA. Which was the first dairy in northwest Indiana to build a modern pasteurization plant? United Milk, Cloverleaf Dairy, or Dixie Dairy? Cloverleaf Dairy. The first laundromat opened in the US in New York, California, or Texas? In Texas. How many Americans knit or crochet as a hobby? 28.8 million, 160,000, or 500 million? Do you knit or crochet? 28.8 million of you do. Which sport has been a part of the Summer Olympic Games since their inception in 1896? Diving, shot put, or archery? Are you looking forward to the Olympic Games in Paris? Shot put. I'm definitely an armchair sportswoman. Eating carrots can drastically improve your eyesight. Is that true or is it false? Now here we are. Is it just an old wives' tale or is it true? Is there something in the carrots? It's false. Sorry, but carrots are pretty nice. What is the most filmed park in the world, having appeared in 240 feature films since 1904? Central Park in New York, Bois de Boulogne in France, or Grand Canyon in Arizona? Of course, it's Central Park in New York, somewhere I'm still yet to visit. The LP in LP Records stands for long playing or long play, library player, or Leon phonograph. It's long play or long playing. In World War II, sweetheart grips on soldiers' pistols were grips that had the initials of the serviceman and his sweetheart engraved into it, a myth, or clear plexiglass grips that allowed soldiers to keep visible photos between the grip and the gun. They were clear plexiglass strips that allowed soldiers to keep a visible photo. The beanbag chair was invented by the Italians, French, or Americans. The Italians. What company brought out the go-go boot? Prada, Golo, or Gucci? Golo. Who plays the drums in The Who? Pete Townsend, John Entwistle, or Keith Moon? Keith Moon. Someone who makes soap is called Saboni, Soper, or Chandler? Now, I do make soap as a hobby, but I didn't know I'd be called this, a soaper. Role-playing video games where players complete quests by exploring dungeons with the theatre are called roguelikes, sandbox, or MMORPG. Roguelikes. What is the most dangerous of volcanic hazards? Lava flows, pyroclastic flow, or gas clouds? I kind of wouldn't like to get caught up in a volcano, no matter which of these, but the pyroclastic flow is the most dangerous. France's first public toy library was built in 1967. By 1979, France had how many toy libraries? 12, 80, or 35? So less than 10 years later, 80. Wow, or just over 10 years, sorry. Sitting too close to the TV screen can make you go blind. Is that true or is that false? Now, I tell that to my daughter now because she sits like this. But it's irritating. Is it true or is it false? Of course it's false. However, it can cause eye strain, is probably not good, but it's just really irritating. The alo in Allosaurus means tall or big, bright or friendly, or strange or different. Do you think you saw us? Allosaurus. Strange or different. Maybe I'm an Allosaurus, I'm strange and different. Artichokes are a type of thistle, a vegetable, or a type of grain. It's a type of thistle. Now, one of my favourite soups is artichoke soup. Absolutely love it. Cracking your bones will give you arthritis. Is it true or is it false? It's false. Another thing that's just said, it's just irritating. Where was J.R.R. Tolkien born? South Africa, Scotland, or England? South Africa. Where is the largest known meteorite? Namibia, China, or Romania? I'd say it was in the ground, wouldn't you, if it's fallen from the sky? But it's actually somewhere. It's in Namibia. The tarantella was used as a cure to sweat out the poison of the tarantula spider. Is that true or is it false? It's true. Are any of you an arachnophobe? Are you scared of spiders? Don't bother me. The name Nefertiti means a beautiful woman has come. Nightfall in the Valley of Pharaohs, or the powerful falcon rises. Nefertiti. A beautiful woman has come. Who was the 13th President of the US? Abraham Lincoln, John Tyler, or Millard Fillmore? Millard Fillmore. The first heavy bomber plane was the Italian Caproni CA, British pistol, or the Russian Sikorsky? The Russian Sikorsky. The first airline meals made in October 1918 were pre-packed, cold lunchboxes that were priced at 3 shillings each. True or false? It's true. Walt Disney's body is cryogenically frozen. Is that fact or is that fiction? It's fiction. Walt Disney's body was actually cremated. Poaching is a cooking method that involves heating a food in a liquid, blanching a food, or baking a food in an oven. Heating a food in a liquid. The largest recorded hailstone was 5 inches, 3 inches, or 8 inches. Can you imagine? It could kill you, any of those. 8 inches, my goodness. The heaviest flying bird is the Andean condor, trumpeter swan, or the great bustard. The great bustard. What is the widest bridge? Sydney Harbour Bridge, Port Mann Bridge, or San Francisco Oakland Bay Bridge? San Francisco Oakland Bay Bridge is the widest. Seaweed is a seagrass, macroalgae, or coral. It's a macroalgae. Paul Revere held up the signal lanterns in the Old North Church. Is that true or is it false? It's false. True or false? Upon being told that the peasants had no bread, Marie Antoinette said, "Let them eat cake." Oh, she'd be my best friend. love cake. It's false. The phrase comes from Jean-Jacques Rousseau's memoir. Sea glass is stones that have been tumbled smooth by the ocean, remnants of seashells, or naturally weathered piece of glasses. They're naturally weathered pieces of glass, basically litter. So, how was your general knowledge today? Drop your score in the comments below, and of course like and subscribe so we can notify you every time we post a new quiz. And please join us next time for more fun on Quiz Time.